Well, my friend, it is good to have you back into the world.
Yeah.
I pulled you out of the depths of parenting.
I'm tired, man.
You've been deep down there for a long time. You look tired.
It has been exactly a month.
You actually don't look tired. You look just as great as ever.
I appreciate that. I feel pretty. Actually, I got decent sleep last night, but man, it's
what's it
tough.
like right now?
It is crazy. So the way I always explain it is the further you go into what is it called? Like a family unit, like a traditional family unit. You know, you get married, and it's less of you, more of them. You have a kid, it's less of you, more of them, and their priorities go first. So I feel like I have zero free time now, absolutely no free time. But at the same, okay, this was maybe the wrong way to start it. It's incredible. I have a new kid. I have a baby girl. I just right now I'm very tired. It's been a month of grueling, and then first work week last week, and yeah.
But you're still running 10 kilometers a day.
Trying. It's my one escape.
Maybe that's why you're tired.
I think it actually boosts my energy, but maybe later in the day it makes me feel tired. But every time I feel so stressed, and I'm just I'm tired, and I go run, and I feel great. I feel so good.
Dude, I could only imagine one day running and getting more energy from running. I don't think that's possible.
First step is actually running.
Shoes, gear. You look the part, man.
Maybe even just thinking about the running first.
Last time I was running, it was in skinny jeans and a hoodie.
Yeah,
through the streets of Amsterdam. That's the last time I went running.
You used to run in our videos all the time. We just do those drone shots where you would run sideways. You actually had the match cut in your 5mm video. So good.
That looked awesome, right?
So good.
Kirk
the
crushed
memories.
that. I was like, hey, can you go through the archives and find all the running shots? I think there was one in Iceland. I just basically was all the videos I did with Matti.
Lake Como, Italy. That's where it started. That was our first trip together.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, we cut them all together and it looked great. It looked like I actually knew what I was doing.
Congrats on 5mm.
Thanks.
That's
pretty nuts.
It's pretty crazy. I think most people, when they're on the outside and they look at you, for example, of course you had 5 million. But us 3 years ago, that's absurd to think that you would have 5 million subscribers now.
I remember distinctly being on Skype, which I very soon after I started YouTube removed from my computer, with Chris Ramsey. And the subscribers were going up, and I had just gotten to 50,000, 60,000, and I was looking forward to getting to 100. And he said to me, Pete, I think this could be in the millions, man. And I remember just shaking my head and laughing at him, being like, there's no way, man. I'm telling you, it's possible. And
I'm you say it right now, but people are oh, you're just saying that. You knew. But it's not like that at all, right?
No, I had
literally, there's no way that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, I didn't even think 100 would happen.
Yeah.
I was very excited for that little silver play button, stoked on that. And then, it's been
and now you have 5.
Now I have 5. Yeah, halfway there.
I distinctly remember... it was my first really seeing into the YouTube world was when I went to Buffer Festival.
Yeah.
For the first time. I didn't do YouTube back then. I just made a travel film, and I heard about this festival, and I just submitted my travel film. And they're oh, you got whatever it was. You can come to the festival and show your video or whatever. And then I saw all these YouTubers, and I saw Ben Brown. I think he had I want to say 600,000 subscribers. And I was oh my goodness, if I someday had that, I would just be set. I would be chilling, no stress in life. I would just be just enjoying everything. It'd be so easy. That'll never happen, but imagine that.
It's funny how that works. You always think if I just need this, if I just get the wide angle, then I can go do every shoot that I need. I will never be, if I just get that wide angle.
Then I'll be crushing it.
If I could just get a truck, then I could bring my gear in it. If I could just get an office.
When I need a new camera, if I could have that better camera, then my videos would be good.
More resolution, man. More equals more views.
It's so true.
Yeah, I said that was kind of the premise of that boat trip video that I made, which was enjoying the journey. Which I even forget. That's a part of the reason I even made that video is a reminder to myself to enjoy the journey and not just be focused on the little things along the way. But
I'm curious. So I have a thought behind this, but I'm curious. what has this whole journey, 3.5 years now, I think it's been around.
Yeah.
What's been your favorite stage, or what was the part that you were enjoying the most? You were just having the most fun. What was your favorite part so far?
Oh man, I think twofold. One would have been early 2018 or 2018, I think, was the most fun years when I met the most people, probably went to the most crazy places. I think we did Iceland at the end of 2018, did that whole birthday thing where everyone came and had the gallery. So like it was like a very active year where a lot of travel. So that was good. I remember that being distinctly amazing. Honestly, one of the best experiences of my career so far was, and I still haven't finished that doc, but on the bus with Angels and Airwaves.
Yeah, that's pretty
still,
big deal.
it was just like that. And this whole channel has like afforded me those opportunities. But I would say like that's probably one of them. And then there's just little distinct highlights, like flying to Amsterdam on a whim to vlog with Casey and do that. You and I in Italy was still like one of like the most fun trips.
In terms of stages, though, like not specifics, stages. What would you say was your favorite?
I have no stage.
See, for me, and I argue this is true, that like people are always aiming for like, they're just waiting for that success and waiting to, whatever their idea of success is, and then they're going to be happy. But actually the journey is so much more fun. Like I think for me, the most fun was like the first, second year, third year, I think was the hardest for me. YouTube. That was when I would really like, and I think that was obviously when I was the most successful. I was getting like the most subscribers I've ever had, the most money I've ever made in my life. Yet like it was more fun and more exciting when I had less, when it was just like things were happening, it was starting, it was like the journey was beginning. I
get that. But no, I look back on all of it and have like fondness. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked all the stages.
Yeah.
The whole thing is pretty ridiculous when you actually step back outside of it and look at it from the outside. It's nuts.
It is absolutely nuts. But again, I think when people look on the outside, it's like, well, that's obvious that Pete was going to have 5 million. He's going to have 10 million. And even right now, thinking about 10 mil, like me thinking about it for you, and I'm sure for you yourself, it's like, that's probably never going to happen.
Zero chance.
And then like 2 years later, it's going to be like, oh, congrats on 10 mil here.
Maybe in like, I could see like if I kept it up at the rate I am now for like another 5+ years, I could see it maybe happening. But I don't want it to sound ungrateful. I don't care if it happens or if it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because it was never what I set out to do anyway. I'm already doing what I want to be doing. So more subscribers, cool. But I'm still doing it regardless. So, I'm also still doing?
What are you doing?
I cut myself again this morning.
Okay, this sounds, without any context, this sounds really bad.
Oh, yeah. It was an accident.
Peter isn't like
with a tool.
Yeah. This isn't like a thing you do every day. It's just, happened once.
It happens often,
again.
actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it only happened that one time.
Well, like I always talk about pocket knives. I've given you a few. I carry them.
You're very into the knives.
Yeah, I've carried them for 10 years. And they're great tools. And you can probably attest to now carrying them. They come in handy all the time.
Yeah.
But I also cut myself all the time on them by accident. Opening something, looking at the steel, being like, ooh, that's a nice grind. Oh no. Again.
This makes me feel so much better.
It still happens.
Because I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast, but I was at your office like the first time since like COVID, whatever. And then like, you're like, do you want a knife? And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. And then you give me this knife and it's like sick and it's like whatever. And then I open it up and instantly slice my thumb off.
That's because instead of using the thumb stud to open it, you used the blade edge to open it.
That is not what happened.
I watched it happen.
What happened was, there's like a little like loop that you put your thumb in, right? I used that, but it like stutters, right? And then my thumb came off, and then it went to the blade instead, and then you gave me first
blood.
aid.
I wiped your blood off my counter.
I was spraying it all over. I didn't realize I was spraying blood out of my thumb.
No, the first time I cut myself during the pandemic by myself in the office badly, and it came through the jeans, and that's when I called you on the way home, and I like stayed at the office a little bit longer, put my foot up. I was feeling like I was going to pass out.
That looked bad.
I taped it together with gaff tape and went home.
Of course you did.
And the same thing last night. I was cutting open a Super 73 bike, a bunch of zip ties on it, and I should know this. I use a knife every day for stuff. I should know. Use a knife for knife-related tasks. Use tools for tasks that require tools. should have had wire cutters or, something like that. Instead, I just had this knife jammed up in this zip tie, and I was putting tons of pressure on it to try and get it to break. Knife probably isn't as sharp as it should be. Another mistake. And the point was facing me, and I was putting tons of pressure on it.
This sounds like a great.
Yeah. Like when you look back on it, you're like, wow, you really are not smart at all. How did you get this far? So I'm pushing on the knife edge, and the second that zip tie gives, all the extra force that I'm putting in is coming towards me where the point is. That's exactly what happened. The zip tie cracked, and I went straight down into like my lower thigh.
This could have gone real bad, Peter.
Isn't that where your femoral artery is?
Yeah.
Isn't that where like that? So anyway, it cut down
there's
in there.
a lot of other important things.
There are other appendages that are of the utmost importance.
That should not be
near a knife blade.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it went straight into my pants, came back out, and it was cold, and I just knew instantly. I looked down, there was a huge tear in the pants, and I was like, oh, here we go again. And I could see like the skin opened up through the hole in my pants. My buddy was over, and he's like, if there's blood, I can't look.
I can't look. I have to leave.
So I'm like, okay, hang on a second. I'm in the corner of my garage with my pants down. He's just hanging out. I'm looking at it like, oh no, I called my wife. Can you bring the first aid kit? She comes in the garage. Did you cut yourself again? She comes out of her car. I'm like, yeah, I did it again.
Yes, I did.
She kind of started laughing and shaking her head because she knows.
Classic.
Won't be the last time either.
That makes
so
me
it's
feel
currently
so much
just
better.
taped shut right now.
I mean, I feel bad for you that you cut yourself, but it makes me feel much better that
Yeah.
I don't feel like a total noob with my knife now.
I just gotta I don't know. Gotta figure it out. Start using a butter knife or something. I don't know. Or maybe just stop carrying a knife.
You're the funniest thing that you let your personality. I think this is part of your personality, and this is probably why you're so successful at 5 mil on YouTube. Is you get into something and you really get like,
I go hard.
You go full on. Like
Yeah.
there is no middle. There's no like, I dabble a little bit. It's like,
Well, you know what
Yep.
I'm obsessed with right now?
well,
Fully obsessed with right now. Should we go into it?
I think we should.
So it's the-
you just started opening up about it to me.
Yeah,
the other day.
we could pivot right now and go a different direction, or we could just dive in.
Let's dive in.
Okay, so I'm going to make a video about this eventually. So for the listeners of the podcast, they'll be updated first. But
This is exclusive, guys. Exclusive interview right here.
I've decided, and I don't know how long it's going to take. It could take years. Like it could take 10 years. I'm okay with that. But I am going to be a ridiculously talented billiards player. Yeah.
This is all.
Don't laugh at me.
No.
It's amazing.
This is like before YouTube, and if you've told someone, you're like, I'm gonna have 5 million subscribers on YouTube. It's like,
Yeah.
Sure,
I liken it
Peter.
to like, I'm going to make money with magic tricks. And they're like, okay.
All right.
Yeah, that kid's going to have a hard life.
Sure you are. But the thing is, you literally will go into it and put in the time, learn, you'll go full on
Yeah.
until you achieve this thing.
Right now, I play 2 hours a day and I watch about 2 hours of professional pool a night. Of
course
and
you
I've
do.
just been
Of
like
course.
information packing as much as possible.
Probably
And
reading all the books and stuff.
all the books. Got books.
Actually reading books.
I got a book on my nightstand. All the stuff on YouTube. And then I met a guy who's gonna come to the office and teach me. And I got rid of all my furniture and I'm putting a table at the office as well.
Of course you
So
do.
I have one at the office and
Do you want
at
to blow up
home.
my office too?
Do you want one in here? Do you want one here? Everywhere I go, I need a table.
That's classic. I just finished renovating everything. I blew it all up. Next,
The girl that
got rid of it all.
The girl that put all my furniture in, she's like, "What happened?" It's like, I need a pool table. It's higher priority. Yeah,
Okay, so the other night we played pool,
yeah.
and I will say you have a long way to go.
Oh, I'm not good at it at all.
Like that's probably the misconception. People might think like, oh, well, Peter's obviously already like really
No,
good
no,
at
no,
it,
no,
and that's
no.
what I thought too. I'm like, oh, he's probably gonna smoke me.
I told you I sucked.
How many games did we play? Like 3?
I had maybe like 5 games, and I think you beat me 4 of 5. Yeah. I lost 2 games to another friend last night. My dad beat me 5-0 the week before. Kirk was over. He beat me like 2-0.
I legit thought this was like a magic trick, theatrics thing, and you're
Hustled.
just gonna hustle me all of a sudden. I'm like, what? Why don't we just put some money on it? And then you're gonna all of a sudden just be like this pool shark, hustle me, and
No, it's my dream to hustle someone, though. I would love to go into a pool hall and hustle someone. However, I don't want like the broken knees or
that's
potential
not good.
injury and
That's gotta be movie stuff. That
yeah,
doesn't actually
yeah.
happen.
I would love to hustle a friend and then like give them the money back at the end.
Is
But-
that the goal of this? What's the goal of this?
so? I don't want to like win championships. I think you need to be playing like your whole life to get to that stage.
It's a little late, maybe.
And I mean, I've got a friend who is a world champion magician. He won America's Got Talent. His name's Shin Lim. You guys have probably, people who are listening have probably seen him on TV. Celebrity, has a show in Vegas and everything now. And he started magic, not even, I want to say, by the time he was a world champion, he'd only been doing magic for around 5 years. He was a pianist and he got in an accident, like injured a bunch of like the, he injured his fingers or his hands somehow. And the doctor was like, hey, to help this injury, you should practice magic tricks to get your dexterity back. Like it'd be good for your
That's the most random advice from a doctor I've ever heard.
Dude starts practicing, world champion, wins America's Got Talent. One of the like best like close-up magicians in the world. And so like, and that wasn't like a lifetime of study. Now I don't think that happens to everybody, but I'm prepared to put in the work. So what I would love is just to be able to pretty much beat anybody at any time, unless I'm playing an actual professional who destroys me, who wouldn't be able to destroy me easily. I want to put in the work to understand every single aspect of the game, and I'm fully obsessed right now. So if there's been a shortage of videos, it's because I'm playing pool. And if there's anyone listening that is a pro and wants to help Peter McKinnon get better at pool, and you are an actual professional, reach out, come teach me. Thank you. Goodbye.
It's so like it. I'm sorry, I'm not laughing at you. It's so comical.
It feels like you're laughing at me.
It's so comical because this is classic Peter. Yeah. I guarantee. Like, okay, I beat you the other night.
It won't happen again.
I bet you it will. We'll play a couple more times, and it'll be like I'll still beat you more often than you beat me. So my backstory, I used to play pool like every day pretty much. I had 2 spares, like so 2.5 hours of free time in my high school one of the semesters, and we would go and practice or play just for fun every single day at my friend's house. And like I was pretty decent, not like professional, but I was pretty decent. I could like clear an 8-ball rack, whatever you. Yeah, I don't know any of the lingo.
Yeah, 8-ball, a rack.
Yeah, I could clear like
it's called a break and run.
There you go. I could do that. And so like I'm like okay at it. I haven't played it in a while, but I have a feeling like a month, 2 months from now, I'm gonna come over and you're just gonna like demolish me.
I would love. So I want to practice with 9-ball because I think it'll make 8-ball easier. 9-ball is when you play and you have to go in order. So I would love to break and run a 9-ball game. And it's doable. There's a lot of people that can probably do it that aren't pros, but that's like when I can control the cue ball and break and run a 9-ball game like several times, that's when I know I'll be at a place where I'm starting to become like what I envision.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever actually really played against people who are like, they can do exactly what they want to do. Like most people are just like, what's the easiest ball I can get next?
What's closest to the pocket? Yeah. And then I'll hit it as hard as I can.
Smash it.
I want to hear that back pocket just ring.
Oh yeah. And then it just like balls everywhere. Yeah. And then the cue ball lands somewhere like, what's the easiest ball I can get now?
And those same smash. People like, why can't I sink anything? I'm like, because you're just destroying it. Stop. It's a light touch.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm looking forward to seeing this. I hope you document this whole thing. I want to see like a full documentary on this.
The plan was to go to like a pool hall and get demolished by someone and bet on the game and lose money and get demolished and then take down that person's number and information. And in a year from now or 6 months from now or whenever I can break and run a 9-ball game, go back to that pool hall and have that guy come back and bet the same amount again or double it with every ball and then just run the table.
Oh my gosh, the pressure on that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it doesn't work, I could just film it again like the next day. But like the time would still need to be put in, and I would document all like the
you're gonna have to learn a year every time. Another year.
No. Like I make it work and stuff. But I think documenting the process, having all my friends come over throughout the time, losing to all of them over and over and over, and then like there'll be a turning point where suddenly you'll see, oh wow, like this dude is actually doing it. Yeah. He's doing it.
What happens if you just never get? This is the one thing that you're just not meant to be.
That's not something I think about. It's not possible. It won't happen.
This is, I think, like
I did the same thing with magic, dude. I saw David Blaine on TV when I was a kid, and I was not going to stop until I could do magic to like where I envisioned it being in my mind. to the point where I was on stage with Copperfield talking to other magicians at conventions in Vegas. I got there from like my bedroom and my dad buying me magic tricks from like a magic shop downtown.
I don't think people still understand how far you went with magic.
I went pretty far.
Yeah.
Yeah. I started with kids shows, did stage shows, did corporate shows, then started selling products and wrote my own books and became friends with some of like the best magicians and pros in the world and worked my way all the way up to the point where I was giving talks at conventions to other magicians. And I kind of reached the summit, if you will, of that. For me, you could always go higher, I believe. Yeah. You can always get better, but I just didn't
David
want
Blaine's
to
still
do any.
going higher.
Yeah, yeah, and he's pushing the limits as far as like performance art and stuff goes, right? He's how can I ascend past typical card tricks and stuff that a lot of people do and most common magicians will get into. How do I take it to the next level? And I'm prepared to start at the bottom with pool and take it to as high as I could possibly take it.
I wonder what is it that some people are just like that, where like no matter what they're doing, they're gonna go super hard at it. They're gonna do everything in order to succeed in that, and it doesn't even really matter what it is. They're always like that. And then other people, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but they're just kind of like, oh yeah, I do this thing. I don't know. It's just like,
I don't know.
Whatever.
I really
and they're
don't know.
more casual about it. But there's something, and I think both of us are like that. If we're going to do something, like we want to be, like even just playing that couple games of pool with you, I'm like, well, I want to get like I want to get good at this too. If you're going to get good at this, I want to get good at this.
You remember that shot? I sent you a video clip of me getting making a ball into a pocket, using like spin around another ball, and you're like, "Oh, sick!" I did that 300 times.
Yeah,
like I let it roll for half an hour, and I did it 300 times to the point where I actually injured my shoulder for 2 weeks, and I couldn't even like hold a cue, and it still hurts because I was holding it up high. It's called a masse shot. And you got to hit the cue from like way high up, and I did it like 300 times. And
a normal person, like an average person, would do it 5 times and be like, all right, I'm good. I'm not doing this anymore.
I injured my shoulder.
10 and they're like, oh, my shoulder hurts. Like, forget this. Like, I'm going to go watch Netflix or something. And then there are Peters out there who do it 300 times to the point where their shoulder is like broken, and then they still keep going. And they like after that, they're reading a book about it and then watching videos, watching playing.
Yeah, so it was hurting. So I was sitting in my bed with a Theragun on my shoulder, reading the book and watching the U.S. Open.
Oh man,
yeah.
You're gonna like bring back. Do they call it billiards or pool? Is it pool?
I mean, it's both, right? Okay.
Billiards, you're gonna bring it back. You're gonna like make it cool again. All of a sudden, everybody's gonna be.
I think it's pretty cool as it is.
I think so too. It's just not very mainstream.
It's not. I guess it's not something you actively think about. And when you think of a sport, no one's going to be like billiards.
Wait, is this a sport?
Yeah, it's a sport.
Okay,
for sure, it's a sport.
I think so too. Yeah, it's
Yeah, I mean, it's on like ESPN and stuff, like all the Moscone Cup and all those things.
I used to watch it all the time. I found it fascinating.
I have a favorite player too.
Not that far.
If you ever want to just look up Shane Van Boning.
Shane, does he still play?
Yeah.
Is he still like the top guy?
He's amazing. And he's like partially deaf.
Oh, interesting.
And he mentioned in an interview that I saw.
That just helps him. Like
when the crowds are going wild, he's like, I can just turn it off. Yeah. I'm like, oh, sick.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm probably one of the best in the world. You know what? I was telling you this the other day. Your wife's Filipino and you're Finnish. Mm-hmm. And 2 of like the top players ever in the world are Finnish and Filipino.
Of course.
And so many incredible players, the world's best players. I almost want to say the majority of the world's best players come from the Philippines.
Interesting. I wonder what it is.
Yeah. They crush it. They just crush it. It's ridiculous.
I even like you say that Finnish guy. I don't know why Finnish people, like there's only 5 million, I think 5 or 6 million people in Finland. Yet like you look at like Formula One, there's always a Finnish guy at the top. You look at hockey, there's always Finnish guys at the top. You look at rally, apparently pool. I don't know why. What is it?
Immonen?
Immonen?
Immonen.
Mika Immonen.
Mika Immonen.
Yeah. I got to teach you to say it perfectly so that when you meet him, you can just like...
He'll be like, oh, hey, I'm like personal lessons. Immonen. Personal lessons, please.
What a weird life.
And then what's the other updates? I just have not been driving my Ford Raptor for a few weeks. I've been in a Ranger, an XLT base model Ranger.
Are you sure you want to tell this story? This story is like pretty intense.
Yeah. let's do parts of the story. Let's do parts of the story. Okay. By no one's fault. Well, what do I care? So
What do I
care? I'm not sponsored by Ford anyway. So
sponsored by Matti Haapoja's merch. Peter's wearing my hat today.
Sponsored by Matti Haapoja.
Matti Haapoja.
That's the one. Okay. No, okay. So got in the truck. Midsummer. Life is good. Windows down. Headed to the marina. Gonna rip the ski. Sun's blazing. Tunes are on. Feeling good.
Couldn't be better.
Feeling good. Start to smell piss.
Not good.
In the truck.
Not good.
I'm like, was a dog in here? Was one of my kids in here? Did they just like pee on the floor? Like, why is it? Oh, smell is gone. Never mind. Have a great day on the jet ski. Amazing. The next day, rinse and repeat. Turn on the truck. What is that smell? What is that smell? Why does it smell like pee every time I turn the truck on? You come over. We go to pick up food for the family. You hop in the truck. Yeah. I'm like, wait, listen to this. Okay, right, I'm going to turn it on. You smell nothing right now, yeah? You're like, nope, don't smell anything. Turn it on. And you're like, yeah, I can smell it. It does smell like pee. Couple minutes later, it's gone. Smell's gone. So I messaged Jacob from the Straight Pipes because we ride jet skis together. And I was like, Jacob, you have a Raptor and you know everything about cars.
They do a car channel. They have
a car channel, yeah.
Everything about cars.
Literally everything. And I was like, what is going on with this Raptor? And he was like, it's either your cabin filter or your AC drain is clogged or something and you need to like replace your AC lines or just get that drain fixed or looked at. I guarantee it's one of those things. If it's not, I'll pay the bill. That's how confident he was. I was like, okay.
Those are.
So I believe him. I'm like, yeah, I mean, if he's going to know. So that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe the fact that I hadn't used the AC yet because I got it last October. So it's been almost a year since I've had it. So I didn't use the AC at all through the winter. Then maybe the fact that I've been using it now. You weren't blasting your AC in
the winter?
No,
really?
That's not
weird.
No.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, you Finnish people do some weird things. So anyway, take it to Ford. I think I'm going to get it back like the same day. I dropped it off and realized it was 5 p.m. and I hadn't heard back from them yet. And I had dropped it off at like 9 a.m. And they finally call and she's like, so, I'm like, well, that's not a good start.
That's a great start to
That's like, what is that size? Terrible. Can we do that? I'm like, well, how much?
How many days?
How much? Yeah. How long? Is my rental arriving soon? She's like, so listen, it's not your AC drain and it's not your AC lines and it's not your cabin filter. So right away I was like, cool, Jacob's paying the bill.
Easy.
I'm not going to do that to him. But I'm like, what is it? She's like, so we think something got inside your truck and peed in it. And I'm like, okay. Like elaborate. Is it still in there? Is there a dead animal in there? We don't know yet. We got to take more of it apart to see. But warranty is not covering any kind of damage from animals. I was like, oh, that sucks. Like, okay.
Don't worry. Jacob is covering damage from animals.
This damage is brought to you by the Straight Pipes. So I get it. It's by no one's fault that this happened. It wasn't a faulty part. It wasn't user error. Who knows what it is at this point? She's like, but we got to take the dash off in order to get to what we think is where the smell is coming from, which is the evaporator assembly, and that's under your dash.
Of course. I knew it was the evaporator assembly. Yeah. I knew it.
Yeah. And me, I'm like, what's the what is that?
I don't know.
She's like, well, it's a really long piece that sits under your, I don't even care what it is. Just let's go then dive in. I need your permission to take the dash off. I'm like, yeah, what's that? She's like, well, the seats are coming off, the doors are coming off, the wheels coming off. The whole front of the truck's coming off.
That makes it feel like it's not new anymore.
Yeah, I'm like, well, and then it's never going to go back together the right way. Yeah. And there's always going to be some new noises or creaking or garbage. So they take it off. And she's like, also, the part, if it is what we think it is back ordered. We can't get it.
Perfect.
Okay. So what
Jacob has one.
Yeah, what do we do? Well, you could try and find a third party part and like bring it. And then we can put that in.
This is something that Peter does on a daily basis.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah,
I'll just look up. Let
me just run over.
Was it an evaporated assembly? Yeah, I'll find it easy.
Let me just run over and grab one.
I got some in the garage.
Yeah, BRB. Anyways, not to drag it on. A week and a half later, They replaced the evaporator assembly, put the truck back together, and it seems like a mouse got in the AC drain, pushed its way through these prongs that block the opening because the guy found hair and stuff on it, went in and peed on like not all over everything, but I guess just in the right spot. And you could see like some yellow stain on like a filter or whatever was in there, and then came back out through the same way and dipped and was like, there you go, buddy. And it's $2,500.
Cool. Thank you, Jacob.
Yeah.
For paying for.
Thank you, Jacob.
Mouse fee
From
in
the
the
straight pipes.
evaporator assembly. That is a nut. You sent me the picture of like the dash, I guess it was.
Yeah.
And it looked
Gone.
like it was like a car in the assembly line because it was just like in pieces.
But I got it back now. It doesn't smell and it's ripping. So
Is it creaking? Is it making noises?
no, it's not.
Okay, good.
No, it's not. It's good. And I
Nice.
bought a whole bunch of mouse traps.
Do you have them like in your car on the
They
dash?
are arriving today, and they will be everywhere. And my buddy came over last night with a bunch of like spray foam and like expanding insulation stuff, and we like sprayed every single crack and potential because mice have no bones.
Yeah, no.
And they can fit through. I heard
I mean,
the
they do
size
have
of a dime.
bones, but
No, mice have no bones.
What?
Except for like their head.
Don't they have bones?
No. Look that up, Tyler.
Is this-
I guarantee. Well, the dude who came over who brought.
This
I had a guy-
podcast is turning into a science podcast now. Let's
No, but
learn
I
about mice.
had a guy come. Don't have bones. There you go. Rats and mice don't have bones, so they can get through. Oh, it's a myth. Hold up. It's not a myth.
This doesn't look like a
The silence.
website.
The silence you're hearing right now is us looking on the internet to see if this is true. Well, here's why I have this fact, right? Because a guy came over and did a sweep of the property in the garage and was like, "You don't have a mice problem." He's like, "But they can get in anywhere."
Yeah.
So he's like, "So like,
But I don't
whether
think that's
you're-
because I think they still have bones.
I don't think they have
they
bones.
just like can like.
Rats and mice have internal skeletons, but they have very flexible ribs.
Right. So they do have bones.
I'm going with the fact they don't have bones. It's way cooler in my
But
head.
what I will say is your fight is futile. Like they will find some other little crack somewhere. It's on like your ceiling somewhere. There's a shingle that has a little crack in it.
Do
It'll
you
come
remember
through
the
there.
conversation we just had about Peter McKinnon going hard?
Yes, but
Zero chance.
there are some things.
No,
Yeah.
impossible.
There
I'll
are
win
some.
this. No.
I can't wait. I want mouse updates.
Oh, you'll get them tonight.
Every single podcast, we need mouse updates.
Mice, it's those types of stressful issues that just don't need to be issues that come out of nowhere. Like a random mouse gets into my garage and goes into my truck and causes damage.
What are the chances?
And then the truck's gone for a week and a half. And it's just that added stress. It's that stuff that you just don't need when you're trying to do other things. That kind of thing bothers me. So no, these mice will lose. I am determined now. It's Peter versus the mice.
Good luck. Good luck.
And I'm coming out on top. I'll let you know.
Do you ever I feel this a lot. I think it's partly because like in YouTube there's an endless amount of work. I feel like I have obviously I have 2 kids now too, and it's craziness. But like you have a sticker from my merch on your elbow.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, that's really embarrassing for anybody watching. It's really embarrassing. No, I'm just kidding. I feel like I have no free time, and so like when something like that happens, it stresses me out so bad because like I don't got time for this. I already didn't have free time.
Yeah.
I don't have time to now
And the
go to
time
the
I
dealership
have-
and do this kind of stuff.
The time I have, I don't want to be dealing with this.
Yeah, it's like I already have like a half an hour, maybe a free time a day.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend that and more from my work time or something like that on.
But it
freaking-
happens, right?
Oh yeah,
It happens.
That's life.
Deal with it, move on.
But I think that's an issue that I need to maybe take it easy a little bit. So, and so that when things like that happen, it's like whatever. Like
I think that's the right approach. And as content creators, I think I should use my creativity as an outlet to tell the story of what's happening to make it work for me.
right.
Where I don't typically do that. I just stress about it and deal with all that stuff behind the scenes, and then I don't make content because I'm trying to deal with this mouse issue and mouse. It's irritating me.
Same thing.
Drop off the truck, whatever, all that stuff. Where I could be making that a funny continuing saga of the mouse issue and the truck and what's going on with it. Instead, I just let it stress me out and put off my content making where I could make it work for me.
That's a weird thing in YouTube, where it's like when I just said and I felt really Canadian. When in YouTube world, Peter's holding a Tim Hortons cup, which is Canadian coffee chain. Actually, it's American nowadays, not Canadian anymore.
Spit it out, Matti.
What I was going to say is in YouTube world, things go right, great. That's great content. Things go wrong, that's great. It's still good content. It's like a weird, like.
On our way here, Kirk was like, if we get pulled over, I'm like, I'd be psyched. I'd tell the officer, like, I need to film this. And if he was like, no, I'd like, at least let me get something for the money I'm going to have to pay.
At least let me vlog it.
Yeah, bro. One of those fake turn the cameras off and everything's filmed sideways.
Yeah, it's off.
It's off. I can see the red button. It just means.
No, it's just batteries dying.
We've all been there.
Yeah. But there is a danger there also. Some vloggers and people have gone down the road of searching for those negative, because I do think that the negatives are actually more like, it's more clickbaity, you can get more views, whatever. And so like people start searching or making or coming up with negative things in order to like create drama.
It's a fine line.
Yeah.
It's a fine line, and it's a dance that you got to kind of master. And I think it will probably end up taking an entire career to master, which I'm not even sure can be mastered, but we try.
I would say that the biggest channels on YouTube have all crossed the line at some point, I think, with that. Like, it's like you have, like, the biggest views come from, like, hovering on that, like, line of, like, wait, should he be showing, like, you know, like, should this be on? It's like, it's fascinating to watch that then, like.
I mentioned on the vlog, this is the first podcast. Have we called it out yet? If you're watching the podcast, this is the first one with the black wall.
Yeah, my office has changed. So the podcast happens in my office.
Yes.
It should happen in your office because you have like
this is
an office
nostalgia.
that's like seven. That's true.
This is good vibes.
But the wall has changed. If you're listening to it, you should go watch it on YouTube and subscribe and
the wall's
stuff
changed
like that.
for the
wall
better.
is different. I think it's better.
Not everyone's podcasts change for the better.
That's true.
You know where I'm going with this?
Are you hinting at a certain world's biggest world's biggest podcast ever? And I've been waiting for this remodeling and new
Look
studio.
At it. Why is it so bad? Like,
okay,
what? Is there a reason why Joe Rogan's podcast looks like complete shit?
Okay, first off, I want to say I very much enjoy Joe Rogan's podcast.
Oh,
I
same.
think it's great.
Yeah.
I don't usually watch the YouTube.
I
usually
watch
just
it.
listen to it. But the new studio is horrendous. Like, everything about the setup is horrendous.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much as bad as it can be.
Yeah.
No, maybe not as bad as
No,
it's bad.
It's pretty bad.
It's bad. It's like
What's with the lighting? Are they only rim lighting it?
So they have like crazy harsh lights.
Yeah.
And there's like nothing on this was the first one, I think. So like I think they're still tweaking things a little bit, but the background, like I'm going to describe it or Peter, you describe it. What's going on?
It looks like a pack of ramen noodles.
Okay.
With some LEDs.
So how I would describe it is like, it looks like some like Star Wars spaceship with like, it looks like Darth Vader's like little corner of his Star Wars spaceship where it's like, it's red, there's black like design, like it's really distracting. Like all I want to do is just look at the background. And red, I don't think is like a very good color for a podcast. Like it's like.
Red's just never a good color for cameras.
No, it's like, it makes him look like he's mad all the time. Like it just like, it's not like Joe Rogan's podcast is pretty casual.
Yeah,
like
chill.
It's relaxing. It's chill to listen to. This is not chill to look at. Like it looks terrible.
Has he addressed it in any of the issues or any of the
I haven't heard it.
Or?
They've tweaked it for sure. But then also like they have no depth of field. So like the background is, I think the background might actually be more in focus than the person. I think the focus is even off a little bit.
Oh, it just makes me sick.
And then the lighting, like it's more bright on the back. So like you're just looking at the background, this red.
I think they'll change it. I think they'll tweak it over time. There's no way he's not going to get feedback from friends and people that watch that where he wouldn't tweak it.
They would have to do some drastic. They would literally have to redo the whole thing.
But like you could do a lot with lighting.
But the red, that's paint. They got to repaint that whole thing.
Yeah, but I mean, it could still look good if it was lit properly. and like whatever camera settings they're using are no longer used.
I feel like the red was just a bad. So they're using like those like HD like camcorder things like
broadcast style cameras.
Yeah, they're not really even broad, but yeah, I guess that's what you would kind of call them. They're like old. I don't know why they're using like, it's like, to me what it seems like is they run a very small, like what is it, just like Joe and young Jamie that do it. I don't know if they have other people doing it. There's only a few people that like run the podcast. And so I think what's happening is like they just didn't have the right people. I don't know if it was just young Jamie who was like, oh, I'll come up with stuff, or was it Joe Rogan was deciding and he clearly doesn't know anything about cinematography and this kind of stuff.
But maybe he doesn't care. Maybe he's just like, most people are listening, so the visuals, you don't need to let them distract me. I just want to do the podcast.
See, I don't buy that because like look at the back, like they've clearly like, let's make this like super cool, the studio with all this stuff, because they could have just put up like sound blankets or something like that and made it really like
I don't know.
And I love his podcast. I just wish that like it's the same thing. I watch like streamers sometimes, like gamers, like Ninja, for example. A lot of people know Ninja, and it drives me nuts because it's like he got like a whole studio setup made by Red Bull. But like, I don't know who set up the cameras and the lighting. It's just like terrible lighting. It's like overexposed. The focus, they have a black magic that doesn't have autofocus. So like the focus is off like half the time. Yeah. Like if anytime he like leans back or forward, it's out of focus. Oh, I just wish I could like, and obviously they're superstars. I could never like, hey Joe, like I'll do it for free. I'll come just like help you. Like I'm not even gonna get a hold.
Crazier things have happened.
Yeah, that's true. But drives me nuts. I'm glad we have this back.
This looks good.
This looks much better.
Yeah.
Much
okay.
better. I'm really hungry, man.
Yeah. I was gonna say, can you hear my stomach? It's like, oh.
And I started drinking coffee. So
what?
I wouldn't. You know this.
But like, are you continuing said drinking of coffee, or is it just like, oh, I like a latte here and
I'm
there?
a casual coffee drinker now.
Really?
I'm not a religious coffee drinker. I don't drink more than 1 cup a day. I'll drink, I would say every other day 1 cup, but cold brew, iced coffee, no hot coffee. I'm not a hot.
Well, when the winter comes, we'll work on that.
No.
We're gonna work on it.
No, all it takes is one time burning my mouth on a hot drink. I'm like, never again.
We're gonna
I
work
hate
on
this.
it.
This is the worst. I don't know why anybody would do this.
Just don't drink burning hot drinks.
But they're always burning hot. Why do they serve them burning hot?
So you can take the lid off and let it cool down, and then it's
I
at
don't
whatever
want
temperature
to wait
you want.
for 10 minutes, and then there's like
listen to
5
you.
minutes of like a window where it's warm. But
Says
it's
the
not
guy
too
who
cold.
drinks no hot drinks and
that-
only has
this
a
is
coffee
why.
every
This is
other
why.
day.
Okay, let's go get an iced coffee, cold brew.
Sometimes you just piss
Cold
me
brew.
off.
Cold brew.